YouTubers, Mike Martin's here, Mike Martin's channel. Husky confirms layoffs, sources say hundreds of jobs affected. Oh, well, this just was announced right after the elections, Canadian elections. Let's see if we get some audio on here. What is she saying?
For the autumn 2019 period, and boy, is it a continuation of the conversations we've been having one day after the federal election. An economy that continues to hum along, hiring intentions, spending intentions broadly across the country, increasing some greater confidence in where the economy is going. However, regional divides being exposed, with sentiment, particularly in the prairies, being described as widespread weakness, in contrast to the positive views that we see in central Canada. And much of that, John, was reflected in the...
So, what's happening here, guys, is Canada keeps boasting about all these new jobs created, but they're public sector jobs. That's the problem. They keep forgetting to mention that we lost 20,000 private sector jobs. Yeah, that's kind of important to mention when you announce 40,000 jobs last quarter or last month or whatever. I don't even care what the numbers are, when they're not realistically telling the numbers of the aggregation of loss. So technically we created 20,000 new jobs. We created 40,000, but we created 20,000 new because we lost 20,000 private sector jobs that fund the public sector. So hundreds of workers at Husky Energy Inc. are believed to be affected by a round of layoffs of the Canadian energy giant, according to employees at the company. Sources told BNN Bloomberg's Tara Weber the layoffs are mostly focused on Western Canadian staff, with the majority of cuts happening in Calgary. Calgary's in Alberta, by the way, if you're watching this in New Zealand. Today, we did have to say goodbye to some of our colleagues. Husky has been taking steps to better align the organization with the workforce with our capital plan and strategy, said Husky spokesperson Kim in an emailed statement, while declining to confirm the number of jobs being cut. One source said the layoffs were happening Tuesday morning. That was 2 days ago, people. The Human Resources Department at Husky booked multiple rooms at the Calgary headquarters for meetings from 7 a.m. till 2 p.m. local time, multiple sources said. A spokesperson from Husky Energy told BNN Bloomberg on Monday the company doesn't comment on rumors or speculation. The cuts come at a time when Husky has been reducing capital spending in the wake of ongoing pressure facing the country's energy sector. So everybody knows what's happening in Alberta and Wexit and all this that's happening. Man, it ain't looking good for the Prime Minister of Canada. The newly elected Prime Minister has got more on his plate than I think he could ever imagine. Now, how is he going to keep the country together? Well, I think instead of spending money on, in my opinion, in opening visa offices to attract more wealthy investors to come to Canada, to speed up process, I think they should have spent that money on private sector business. Oh, Mike, how do they do that? What do they send a check now? Just let businesses keep their GST. When you collect GST, keep it. Let us keep the GST. We offset it. Let us keep the GST. And get back some sort of government return. So we offset. We don't offset. We just what we do is we send in a remittance of how much we spent on GST and get that back, a little bit of here and stuff for product for my store, for example. Small business like this should qualify for something small like that. Then this way, this will allow us to pass on the savings to customer and then to grow consumer confidence and build business. But that's a simple way of doing it without the government having to mail out us checks. You know, instead of creating 40,000 public sector jobs that are just funded by the taxpayer, means nothing. In December, Husky took $300 million out of its 2019 capital spending budget to account for the impact of oil production curtailments and lower global oil prices at its investor day in May. The company unveiled a new 5-year plan that would see the average annual capital spending fall $3.15 billion, down 10% from a year from its previous 2018 to 2022 plan. Husky will release its third quarter financial results on Thursday. So I am going to go over to check this out today and check out what is going on. Job cuts, usually you see a surge in not a surge, but you see the stock slightly rally when they start cutting back and start, reforming or redeveloping the company. And for gas stations and companies like this that employ so many people, the government doesn't have to send them money or bail them out. Government could say, okay, we're charging this much of a tax on crude or tax credits. Well, you're exempt from that, and you're done. So you don't have to pay this much. Let's say it's 1.2% on something weird they're paying on some distribution, okay? Some funny tax. The government slashes that tax for the gas station. That 1.8% could go as far as hiring more people and keeping most of these companies afloat. That's what needs to happen. They need to start investing more on the private sector. Public sector means absolutely zero when it's the private sector funding the public sector. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.